Several months ago, we talked about Atari returning to the console market with a brand new device known as the Atari Box, with plans to raise funds via crowdfunding. Following delays back in December, the Atari Box, or as it's better known now, the Atari VCS, a name taken from the original name of the 2600, which the new system is modeled after, launched on Indiegogo with only a $100,000 goal. The project has made almost $2.5 million in the first weekend alone. The pitch video opens up about the history of the 2600, how it changed gaming forever, and pretty much spends most of it explaining how the wood paneling and fins became the inspiration for the new VCS. So what will you be able to play on this new device? Well, Atari has been fairly tight-lipped in terms of titles, but we do know you'll be able to play the Atari Vault, which is already available on your PC for $10, and allows you to play over 100 games from the vast library of Atari 2600 and arcade titles. But you'll also be getting Tempest 4000, which is just like the Jaguar version, but with more seizures. So what exactly is under those fins? What are the specs? Once again, Atari's been incredibly vague, but we can confirm it'll be running on a Linux Ubuntu-based OS with an AMD CPU with Radeon R7 GPU, 4GB of DDR4 RAM, and 32GB of internal storage. The specs are probably best comparable to a high-end laptop from 2 or 3 years ago, and will probably be able to handle most games through SteamOS. But there's gotta be more to it than that. A bunch of old games in Tempest 4000 isn't enough to build a console around. Well, you're right. Being Linux-based means a much more simpler infrastructure to develop titles for, and the ability to sign on as an official developer for the system. Atari have already announced a wide number of studios who are getting on board as partners, and I don't recognize a single one of them. Oh wait, didn't they port Xenoblade to the 3DS? Huh. Anyway, let's get to the gritty details. If you want the Atari VCS system, that's going to cost you $199. But that's just the system on its own. Getting either the modernized 2600 joystick or the modern day controller is going to cost you $30 and $50 extra respectively. And that's only if you want to buy the normal Onyx Black design. Atari are also giving away a wood-finished VCS as a limited edition only available on Indiegogo. And that ends on the 11th, and will set you back $300 and $339 depending on the accessories. So you can be potentially spending up to $340 on what exactly? What exactly is the Atari VCS offering you besides an underpowered system with half the RAM of the major consoles and no doubt a fairly underpowered chipset? Why would anyone want to spend the same amount of money you could buy a PS4 or Switch with? And that's just by today's standards. How underpowered would this system be when it's set for release in the middle of next year? Oh, but you have a great collection of Atari retro games with our original joystick to play with. Oh, you mean like the Atari flashback systems that I can get right now for $60 that come with HDMI included? If Atari really wanted to give some worth out of its vault, how about expanding away from the 2600? How about 5200? Your 8-bit computer series? Or hell, Jaguar? I would love to play things like their port of Doom, Alien vs Predator, Tempest 2000. Never mind. The last few years have not been that great for Atari, or whatever company is calling itself Atari these days. It saw some of its major franchises like Alone in the Dark, Asteroids, and Horn House see new titles that completely deviated from the source material and were all universally panned, and have now brought out a new system that probably has the same performance as the bloody Wii U, and will probably be just as successful. I know a few months ago I actually said I was trying to be optimistic here, But honestly, outside of being an emulation device and maybe playing some games through SteamOS, I honestly cannot tell you who this device is being catered to. The high price point and mediocre specs make it look like it's filling a hole in the market that isn't there. That being said, the inclusion of Linux does open up for a lot of potential. There is a large amount of modern games that are available on Linux, and it could be interesting to see what people could come up with. Could they get Fortnite running on it? How about Overwatch? I'm pretty sure PUBG would make it burst into flames though. Now, for the record, I'm only speculating that the specs are underpowered. For all we know, Atari is dropping the cash on the best tech they can get. But without any concrete numbers, who's to say we're under those fins? It's definitely not something I'm willing to drop $300 on. At least not now. Remember, I was there when the Ouya first got launched. I've been burnt before, and I've seen other people suffer the same fate with things like the Coleco Chameleon and the Retro Engine Sigma. But with over 9,000 backers already putting in almost $2.5 million into this, it seems a lot of people are believing in the VCS's potential, which I honestly cannot see myself. All I see is a very, very, very expensive flashback machine that I can install RetroArch on. Would I like to be proven wrong and this device coming out as a viable alternative in the console market? Absolutely. I'd also like to see Raspberry Pi owners shut their big fat gob for once. But we'll just have to wait and see, I guess. I'm Enigma, and we'll see you all next time.